Okay, folks, this is going to be a um, clarification, I guess, of ooh, what you're actually supposed to be doing week by week. We're taking this week by week. You'll have weekly assignments. For example, next week is week 2, and the first chapter quiz, whichever course you're in, chapter 1 or chapter 18, that will be next week. So here's how that works. First of all, be good if you prepare. It's going to be based over um, the appropriate chapter in either 1301 or 1302. Now, on Canvas, all right, there's going to be a study materials module in which you'll find chapter study questions, which are meant to help you prepare for the chapter quiz. Either chapter 1, and in my 1301 setup, they're in a folder. What was that? And in 1302, they're just all listed. I'm not sure how that got that way, but I'd recommend printing them out. And the way I recommend using them is that you take the chapter a section at a time. The first section always includes the chapter introduction, and most of the time there'll be a question from that on the quiz. Okay? Look over the questions from the first section of the chapter. The chapter study questions are based on that book and that chapter. They're like a chapter outline in question form. Look over the questions and then simply read through that portion of the chapter. It may grab you in your 3 sections farther along where you say, wait a minute. But then look back at the questions, and if you need to write anything down or anything like that to prepare with, that would be good. Does this take some time? Well, yeah, it's in college. This is how high grades get made by the people who make them. Okay, then when you think you're ready and nobody's gonna, the second coming is not going to happen within 10 minutes, then you're going to go online and click on the quiz, and up it comes. Now you're going to see it there now because it's all published, but it will open at midnight Sunday night. So it's open all day Monday, all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, until 11:59 p.m. on Thursday. You got 96 hours minus 1 minute. However, once you click on it, you got 10 minutes to finish it up. There will be 11 questions. They're going to be randomized out of a much larger test bank of probably 18, give or take, questions. And the options will be scrambled between one person taking it and another person taking it. Now, there are no retakes. Once you click that mouse button, it's going to count down from 10 minutes, and when it counts all the way down, it's going to be over. So that doesn't leave you a lot of time to look things up. If you're going that route, I much prefer you prepare and take it without doing that. Of course, I'm not looking at you. You'll have 10 minutes. There are no retakes. There are no makeups. In the past, I've had a very generous policy with regard to makeups. I didn't limit how many missed things you could make up, but then you had to be in class on a day to take it. If you weren't, I'd let you make it up, but I only averaged in the best 3. That's over. Okay, that doesn't make sense anymore. I'll leave it open for the entire class week. If you can't work it in, you're going to get a 0. All right, so keep that in mind. Another thing, if you wait till the last minute, if you wait till the very last minute on any assignment that has to be done by a certain time, you are placing a bet. Okay? Like if you started it less than 10 minutes before it's going to time out at the end of the week, that you placed a bet. You're betting your computer won't have smoke coming out of it, or that electricity won't go off, or anything like that. So keep that in mind. There will be weeks in 1301, more than I wanted, where there'll be 2 grades. Sometimes there'll be 2 chapter quizzes in a single week because there's 17 chapter quizzes and only 14 weeks really that I've got to play with because there's 16 in all. I don't give anything like that the first week, and I don't give anything else but the final in the last week. There are also 3 weeks which will have exams and chapter quizzes. In 1302, I managed to avoid that, I think. Your exams are not competing with chapter quizzes. 1301, there's just not enough weeks on the calendar. I have posted the schedule of assignments, and that's predictive. I stick with it pretty close, but always look at the announcements. on the Canvas. Keep your eye on that Canvas page, because I will always post what's coming up next week, and sometimes what's coming up both the next 2 weeks, in case there's any change between that and the announcements and the schedule of assignments. Another thing, I think I told you in the intro video about an extra credit option. It's not an assignment, and that has to do with the supplements book. At the end of each chapter, there's a worksheet. It says study items. I tend to refer to it as a bonus worksheet. It's fill in the blank. And this time around, I've made sure that there are no more than 2 pages each, because if you have, as you're supposed to, the ebook, it will let you print out 2 pages at a time. I've had one student send me the list of answers. That has no context. I really don't want a list of answers. I want you to have that worksheet page with the answers written in, and then to submit it, if you can, scan it, attach the file to an email and send it to me. Always, I need to be able to see your name, and in the description list or the title of the email, what it is, like chapter 18 bonus worksheet, whatever that is. And or you can, if nothing else works, if you got a smartphone, and everybody but me's got one. I have a reason for not doing it, by the way. Just take a snapshot of it. The closer the better. I need to be able to read it easily, okay? I'll probably let those stack up a little bit, so I won't be doing 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, getting nickel and dime to death. But I grade them, and then I did this last spring. It takes some time, but I do it. I will email you and inform you of which ones you missed. And sometimes, something like this, there are questions where there's more than one answer that's technically correct. Now, what I do there is I may not mark your answer wrong, but I might suggest an alternative answer that you might be more likely to encounter. Now, one very easy way you could get confused is thinking that a worksheet like that prepares you for a chapter quiz. The only connection is the number of correct answers you get on the first, like chapter 1 or chapter 18. However many you get right, those points are 1 point per correct answer. Those are going to be added as bonus points on top of your first chapter quiz grade. All right. There are more chapter quizzes than there are worksheets, so not all of them will get bonus points. Okay, for me, I've always generated paper gradebook pages. This time, I don't see 6 different sections. All my 1301 students are, when I look at it, is one gigantic list of names. It's about 90 names long, almost as many for 1302. So I'm not quite sure what my record keeping will look like on that. But I need to write it down and then go back and add the points in. Well, if you're looking at your grades online, they're going to be automatic. Okay, time-wise, I had to score a bunch of Scantron cards and then record the grades into my gradebook and transcribe the grades from the gradebook to the computer. This time, when you take that thing, it goes into the computer. And remember that there are 11 questions. Each correct answer is worth 10 points. So if you get all 11 right, congratulations, you just made 110. And if you pile on top of that, some of these longer worksheets have upwards of 30 questions. You get all those right. There'll come a day when you'll be pretty happy to put 25 or 28 or something extra points on top of a chapter quiz. My only problem with that when I had in-person classes, I doubt it'll be that much of a problem this time around, since you're not directly meeting with each other, is people copying each other. And I got really tired of seeing the same utterly stupid, nonsensical answers over and over and over again. Makes me frown. Okay. So next week, there in 1301, it's going to be English colonization, and I'm just starting getting the videos up. If there is a future out there, I'll have this all set up, by the end of this semester and run by itself. We'll just see what happens. In 1302, it'll be you'll start with settlement of the West, and that's a big enough deal. In class, I would handle that in one section, about an hour. That could break up into four parts. Always watch all four parts. If you haven't watched all three parts of the intro video, go back and do that as well. If you're not sure what it says, there is the key basic thing in the Canvas site up near the top, general course information. That's what some people call a syllabus, but a syllabus would work for all the history courses at this college. That thing is specific to how my class is set up. Okay, so if you have any question about anything, the answer should be there. And I've been known to spend an hour answering emails that were already answered in that document. So save me some time. If you have a question after that, then hey, I'm here to answer questions. If you have any questions about what I just told you, make sure that you email me. Email me? What did I leave out? I can't think. So that's how this is going to work. Week to week basis. Sometimes there'll just be one grade, sometimes it'll be two. So what you're going to be doing, instead of coming to a class twice, you're going to be reading the assigned chapters, sometimes one, occasionally two, in the main textbook, that's U.S. and Narrative History, to prepare for the chapter quizzes and work those up. And follow up the lecture videos. You kind of already have that information. That's what the supplements book is. The outline I follow in the lecture videos is that's the same outline of the chapters in the supplements. Not so much the very first one in 1301, but from there on, I'm basically answering those questions. Sometimes I don't have time to answer all of them, and there'll come a time where I'm basically going to outline it differently. But you hear it from me, you read about it, that multiplies the chance that this is going to more or less lodge somewhere, at least in your subconscious memory. Okay. Got that? Okay. Thank you. I want to add one more little note about the chapter study questions. People can get confused about nearly anything, and it's my job to keep that from happening. That is not a hand-in assignment. The chapter study questions to prepare for the chapter quizzes, that is not a hand-in assignment. That's what you do to help yourself prepare for a chapter quiz. Okay? If I can kind of tell if you end up getting 2 or 3 answers right or something like that, that means you didn't even bother to read the chapter. If you get all gung-ho and read the chapter, that might put you up in the 50 or 60 or 70 range. But you're not going to get into the higher reaches of that unless you've made some preparation. Okay? While I'm on the subject, usually put this in the first part of the intro. There's 2 ways to look at a chapter quiz grade: macro and the micro. The micro is that a single chapter quiz grade doesn't really count very much as part of your final average. Okay? The chapter quiz average used to be 20% of the final grade. Now it's 25%. But if you're 1301, there's 17 chapter quizzes. So a single chapter quiz grade is 1/17 of 1/4 of the final average. Excuse me. Coffee. My wife didn't really want me drinking that stuff. She's got this idea she wants to keep me around. I can go for that. Where was I? So what is that? That's like 1/68 of your final average, like 2/3 of a point. That's the micro. Here is the macro. The average of the 17 chapter quizzes, or however many you take divided by 17, that is 1/4 of the final average. That counts the same as the final. So if you screw around and make a 42 average on the chapter quizzes, that has exactly the same impact as making a 42 on the final. So making a high grade in my class, and if you do, hey, that's something you can hang on the wall. It's going to take some time, some grubbing in the trenches to do that. And I'm not trying to get it where you can recite all this stuff from memory 15 years from now. I just want you to be basically informed so things will sound familiar and you'll pick up some of the basic ideas about our country.